Welcome to RCAM. I'm your host, Ryan, and thank you for tuning in today. So, today we are going to be discussing Bluey, which is a topic that I attempted to cover on Monday, but I ran into technical issues. So, it is what it is. We're going to be talking about Bluey because there's a controversial episode that recently released called "The Sign," which allegedly features the first LGBTQ plus couple in the show. And for people who have kids, you probably know that Bluey has been pretty much non-woke, and that has been one of the appeals to it, especially for conservatives. And it's also just been a good show, a show that we could trust our kids to watch, where we didn't really have to worry about them putting in anything woke. But I think that may have changed. So we're going to get into that and a couple other stories toward the end. So I'm looking forward to having this conversation. If you like my content, please subscribe. Do all the things, follow, share, comment, engage with me. I want to hear from you. And I'm excited that we are growing, which is cool. And I'm just excited for the opportunity to kind of speak my mind, share my thoughts, and get into this topic today. So I was scrolling on Twitter, and I had come across a tweet by Alex Clark. And let's read this tweet. This is like small. I don't like that. Sorry, hold on a second. All right. Two moms in Bluey now. Will we ever live in a culture again without woke for children? Or is this the new normal? Unfortunately, I do think it's the new normal, at least for mainstream television. There's virtually very few shows available that you can watch with your kids where you don't have to worry about them inserting something woke into it. And they've decided to go this direction with the show Bluey, which has been a huge hit with families. It's not only a show that's enjoyable for kids; it also has a lot of adult humor in there, where it makes it actually enjoyable for parents who watch it. So I've watched, I would say, most of the episodes with my daughter and my wife, and we've enjoyed watching it together as a family. And it's been one of those shows that I could put my daughter in front of and not really have to worry about any funny business happening. And it's one of the few shows too that shows a good father, and I think that's rare in a lot of television nowadays. They show a fun, engaged, and competent father, and I think that's a great thing. However, this did spark some controversy. So I want to play for you the clip of this episode. Just give me 1 second, because I do think it's eye-opening. Actually, so one of the benefits of Rumble right now is that you can stream stream shows from Disney or full episodes. I mean, I'm not going to do that because I don't want to get slapped with like a copyright or I want to walk in the line of fair use. But I do want to play a clip from this show just to show you what we're talking about, and you can let me know if you think what you think. So we'll watch this together real quick. No, they phase it out. You can't see it. Oh, well, we'll see. Hold on a second. Well, you can't see it, but you can see the captions. So if you didn't catch that, this little dog, I believe the name is Pretzel, had said my mums told me he might not he might come back, but he didn't. So this uh, seems to be a very clear indicator that pretzel here is referring to multiple. This is plural, so multiple mums, not just a singular. And a lot of people, including the person that originally made this post, said also, did y'all know that pretzel has two moms? That's pretty neat. No, it's not. It's not neat. It's not neat. And then this person said, "Gay dogs in Bluey? I'm so glad for this. As a person who lived with his mom and her girlfriend at one point, I think this is great." Except it's not. It's awful. Why do we need to insert sexuality in a children's show? Why is that necessary? Why do we have to turn the dogs gay? Gotta get like Alex Jones. It's inappropriate, and it really has no place in children's programming. And I know that we're all super woke and super accepting, but same-sex relationships still aren't normal, and we need to stop pretending like they are and putting them into children's programming and confusing them and blurring the lines and perverting them along the way, which a lot of people are arguing that this is a clear case. Now, the other argument is that that in Australia and Britain, that they sometimes use mums as like a form of slang to refer to the singular. I don't know about that. The optimistic part of me wants to believe that, but when I'm staring face to face with reality, and if Disney's involved, I just have a sneaking suspicion that it's not that. Is this enough to write off Bluey altogether? You be the judge of that. I definitely think it's enough to warrant some red flags. And the LGBT community, they're latching onto this. I want to share this post from Megan Basham. And this person is quite pleased with this episode. A nice organic way to introduce sexual perversion to your children. Huh. Bozo Priester writes, I can't hear the video. It's turned all the way up, so that's a little weird. I will have to explore that. I apologize. See, this change only I think Rumble Studio has something messed up with the audio portion, because when I originally used Microsoft Edge, I ran into this issue with audio where you couldn't hear it at all, and now I guess it's coming in low. So my apologies for that. But yeah, these people are giddy about it. I mean, they're excited that they're turning dogs gay, and I think it's really bizarre and a huge misstep for children's shows. And the reason that this is so concerning, that I feel a need to make a video about it, is because this is probably one of the most popular shows for children. I would say, and two, I would argue has been one of the greatest children's shows of our time. Flat out, it just excellent storytelling, excellent characters, very relatable for both children and adults that are watching. Just an overall has been a great show. And they insert this, and first it starts out with a subtle reference, where it doesn't seem, well, it's not big of a deal. Kids aren't even going to pick up on it, and you know what? They're right. Kids won't pick up on it. But you give them an inch, you don't push back, you don't say anything about it, they're going to take a mile. And then before you know it, you have a cartoon character of RuPaul leading a pride parade with transgender beavers who have mastectomy scars. And if you're wondering what I'm referencing, there was a pride episode of Blue's Clues where they literally did this. They had a gay pride parade in Blue's Clues with transgender beavers who had mastectomy scars. So yeah, I am a little black-pilled when it comes to them not slipping this stuff in the children's program, because they do it over and over again. Transgender beavers, non-binary transformers, gay dinosaurs. They do it time after time after time after time, and obviously they cannot be trusted. Disney's notorious for doing it. They had a same-sex kiss in the Buzz Lightyear movie. In Onward, they had a small subtle reference of this police officer, a female police officer, referencing her wife. So they do it over and over and over again. And I wouldn't be surprised if this really is a reference to a same-sex couple. Now, the counter argument, which is brought to you by Breitbart, I'll read to you a little bit from this article. So LGBTQQIAAP I like that. Fans are hoping Disney's Bluey subtly introduced gay characters. The LGBTQ super. All right, that is a little funny. Crowd is declaring victory with the claim that Disney grooming syndicate has introduced a gay character into Bluey, a popular children's show. Disney animated preschool show Bluey has joined the likes of Peppa Pig and Paw Patrol. Oh yeah, because they also introduced LGBTQ characters. Let's not forget. And then the characters and comics report the far left groomers at Pink News. I love that they're just not holding any punches. As much as I despise the Disney grooming syndicate, and I like that they're using like strong language in this article. Very, very good. TikToker Aussie girly Margie, I think that's the one that I just pulled up, whose account is dedicated to Bluey, offered a helpful explanation as to why this episode in particular is relevant to the LGBTQ+. So she talks about this scene, which we've already discussed. All right, so as we discussed, they say, my mom has told me he might come back, but he didn't. That's it. That's all this online schooling is based on. Someone in Australia is showing in an Australian show using the word mums, which reads to me like a touch of slang, not some sort of warning that Bluey is about to join pretty much everything else on Disney Plus to queer your little children, although that would not surprise me. And it wouldn't surprise me either. So that's kind of the argument that they make, is that this is slang and not really, them grooming kids, but they wouldn't be surprised if they are, and I wouldn't be surprised. And I actually, I want to believe that it's slang. I want to believe that that it's it's slang that I'm not familiar with, but I'm just not optimistic, guys. I just would not put it past these people. They have proven over and over again that they can't be trusted. And this isn't the first time that we've seen them cave to peer pressure with this show. I know there was an episode where Bandit, who is the father figure in the show, was quote unquote fat shamed for in an episode because he like grabbed his stomach and he made some comment, and they ended up pulling the episode. So do I think they would cave to the woke mob? Yes, because they already have done it. They've already done it. So I can't be optimistic that this is innocent. I don't trust that at all. No, I think they're actually introducing a gay character, and only time will tell. Do I think this is enough to write the show off completely? Again, that's something you're going to have to decide for yourself. Me and my wife are talking about it. We certainly won't let her watch that episode again. And if we do watch it, we're going to be watching it with very, very critical eyes, because it can't be trusted. And speaking of that, there is I wanted to show you a network that you can trust. We talk all the time about building a parallel economy, and we complain about wokeness in children's program, and we're bothered that that they're trying to sexualize and groom our children, and rightfully so. But we don't really, we haven't done anything about it. Well, there is a company that has done something about it, and that is the Daily Wire. So they have this, the Bentkey app, which I highly recommend. All of the shows on this have pretty much been bangers, and I'm not just saying that because I like the Daily Wire. I am typically a snob when it comes to alternative media. I generally don't like alternative media. Normally it's lame. Normally it's not captivating. Normally it's just not good. And you could see that low effort was put into it. None of these shows are like that. All of these shows are excellent. And now they're not behind producing all of these shows, but the ones that they have produced are still rock solid. And all the shows that they've allowed onto the platform have been great. Some of the shows that my daughter watches is Super Tato. She likes that. This one, I believe, is by the BBC. We have A Wonderful Day with Mabel McClay. Excellent. Chipchilla, very much in the same vein as Bluey. They do this radical thing where they have a present father who's engaged with his children and is homeschooling with his wife 3 chinchillas. They have the mother and father present. They don't treat the father like a moron. He's competent and also fun, and they have good moral lessons in there for the kids. Yoko's another one that she likes. Tish and Tash, that one's pretty cute. My daughter really likes this one. Gus Plus Us, fantastic show. Just all around good. They have he kind of looks like the Cookie Monster, but they have a excellent soundtrack to the show. Like the children's songs that they have in this show are amazing. I mean, they did a terrific job with the show overall, and I highly recommend it. One of the things that I enjoyed about this is that they had a Christmas special where they were doing this radical thing, guys, like unheard of, unbelievable that it happens in children's program. They were talking about Jesus. Can you believe that? Can you believe that they were talking about Jesus and singing songs about the miracle of Christ and him being the greatest gift? Awesome. So that they're going to have positive values in these shows. Bozo Priester said, watch some Runes. Pretty cool. I have not watched this show yet, but I think I'll check it out. I don't know if it's age appropriate for my daughter yet. I'm sure it's probably okay. And Cly writes, is that here on Rumble? No, this is through their app Bentkey. So, and I'm not getting paid to do any of this. So this is not a paid promo. This is just because this is a product that I actually think is great. And you can get a free trial, and you could try it out, and I guarantee your children will enjoy it. You could see, here's the beautiful thing. You can put them in front of the TV and go do something else and not have to worry about gay beavers popping up. Great. Peace of mind. Something that you don't have to worry about. And I think that's one of the most refreshing things about it. And they just have this massive content library full of shows, full of excellent television, excellent storytelling, um, for all ages, and they're expanding, they're growing this thing. So the Daily Wire talked about building alternative media and investing in children's programming, and they delivered. They delivered, and what they put out exceeded what my expectations are. I thought they would have a couple shows, and I thought this would take years to get off the ground. No, you can plug it in and have a full library of shows, and you don't have to worry about it. Very, very cool. So I'm very, very grateful for this. And obviously they're going to be coming out the Snow White movie. That's not going to be woke. They're coming out. I don't know if it's going to be on this, but they're coming out with the Pendragon cycle. That'll probably be through like the Daily Wire actual app. So I don't know if that's going to be part of the BenQ suite, but it's great. It's great content, and I again I highly recommend it, because Lord knows we do not need our children being exposed and robbed of their innocence. I think one of the things that sets great storytellers apart, especially for children, are people who want to preserve the innocence of children and foster wonder in them, and instill good morality in them. And with a lot of shows, even if they're not doing the whole woke thing, like let's take Paw Patrol for example. Entertaining show, I guess, but there's your kids. It's just that. It's just entertainment. There's no moral lessons. Uh, there's no parent figures. Ryder's kind of doing his thing, leading these dogs. Maybe the movies have some moral lessons, but the shows are just there's nothing really there. And I remember growing up on shows like Little Bear and Franklin and Arthur, which also is woke now, and all these shows that actually had moral lessons in them. And I think that's good. And I think kids need to see that. I also think kids need to see their mothers and fathers, which brings me to something that's related that I want to talk about, that I didn't get a chance to talk about before. There's this article in the New York Times where they basically attacking dads, and they took shots at Bluey and Chipchilla, the only two shows that positively are some of the few cartoons that positively depict uh, fathers, dads. So they say the fantasy of the fun dad. In the children's series Bluey and its conservative knockoff Chipchilla, boundlessly alternative fathers step in to assuage parental anxieties. All right. I I have this in here, and it blocks it blocks I I can't watch. I'm not paying for New York Times, so I hold on one second. All right. You guys are gonna have to wait a second, because you want to know what? My daughter is thirsty, and I gotta go get her a drink. So give me a second. I hope you guys had fun while I was away. Um, and I hope you admired my art collection. So, cool thing, random thing. This painting here, it's always been a mystery to me, like who made it. And I've always wondered who made it. And randomly, yesterday on Twitter, somebody's like, "Oh, I recognize that painting. My professor made it." And I found the site that made the guy that made the painting, and he has a lot of really great artwork. So I was stoked because I've been wondering this since we got it in 2014. So pretty cool. And I love that painting because here you have Pontius Pilate, and I just think of that question, what is truth? And he's literally, the truth is literally standing right in front of him. And he asks that question. I think it's just great. It's my favorite painting. All right. So let's get back into this case about Bluey. All right. So Bluey has been praised for its rare and complex depiction of parents, and Bandit has been commended as an exceptional father. Tribute is paid in Bandit Facebook groups, Bandit memes, and custom Bandit merchandise. He is a fun dad who does housework too. In one episode, he dances into the kitchen, shouts, "What's up, party people?" and plops the basket of freshly folded laundry on the floor. I don't know how he keeps house, works as an archaeologist, and serves as a full-time prop artist to his daughters, but he does it all while only feigning complaint. He is not only a good father, he is a fantasy, one crafted to appeal to adults as much as children. And this is what I want to focus in on. So I know it may be shocking to some people that that fathers like playing with their kids, but it's not a fantasy. It's real life. You want to know how I know this? Because I play with my girls almost every single day, and we have fun nonstop. I am very intentional about playing with my children. Usually, when I get home from work, I will carve out an hour or two of time that I'm dedicating to being with them, and we'll build forts. We'll jump in rain puddles. We'll color. I'll chase them around the house. We'll sword fight. Pro tip for parents, because your kids will love this. You know those like long tube tunnels that kids crawl through? Well, I put that on me and pretend like I'm a giant worm, and I chase my daughter around, and she just thinks it's the greatest thing ever. So I know that fantasy dads are not a fantasy, or fun dads aren't a fantasy, because I'm a fun dad. I proudly claim that title. And I'm definitely the fun one between my wife and I. She may not admit that, but it's the truth. I'm the more fun one. And deep down she knows it. Anyway, I do find it jarring, though, that we don't see fun dads or good dads or present fathers depicted in children's content. And I do think that this is not an accident. This is very intentional. There's a reason that in most shows, the children shows, the parents are absent, or if you do have fathers around, they're incompetent morons. I think of let me think of a show. Oh, like Fairly Odd Parents. Timmy's parents were idiots. The dad was a moron, not capable, and I don't think that's a good way to depict fathers. And then you watch like a lot of those teenage Disney shows where all the dads are usually idiots, and this is just a trend that you see in television overall. And I think that's a net negative. I think that there are plenty of good fathers and present fathers and fun fathers, and that's something that should be celebrated. And I know that one of the problems and controversies that came about when Bluey, when Bluey started becoming more prominent, was that parents felt bad that they weren't spending enough time with their kids and playing with their kids. And I think obviously you have to have some boundaries. It can't be all fun and games, but I do commend the show in encouraging parents to be creative and play with their kids. And there were criticisms, but there were also parents that said they learned how to play with their kids. And I think that's a good thing and necessary, especially in younger kids, because play is instrumental in the development of a child. They need to play. That's how they learn. That's how they actually understand boundaries. That's how they deal with defeat and growing. And even working in teams, is playing games, playing sports, doing these things are very, very important. And as a parent, you should be doing everything possible to foster that in your kids, while also maintaining a healthy balance of saying like there's a time for play and there's a time to get stuff done. Like my daughter knows that, when I come home, I'm not immediately playing with her. I'm going to eat my food. I'm going to tidy up the house a little bit, and then we'll play. And she's cool with it. And we have a blast. So yeah, I thought that was relevant. And I hope that Bluey is not woke. That's my hope. Again, I think I'm just not optimistic about it. I'd love to hear what you guys think. I'm genuinely curious, but I do not think that that was an accident. I think it was very intentional, very subtle, and over time you're going to just see more of it seeping into that show. Now, another thing I want to talk about was while we're on the vein of children. So this is a guy outside of a pub saying, found my new local, dog friendly, child free. And I find that deeply unsettling, that we would have a place that allows dogs and not children. And I think this speaks to a unhealthy aspect of our culture, where we do put dogs and animals above other people, to the point where I think it's idolatrous and no good. And I do find myself disturbed that we do this. And I don't like the direction that we're going as a species, where we're trying to cut children out of spaces and make room for animals. And this speaks to larger sentiments about people just having this general disdain for kids. And I find it off-putting. We live in a culture that does not value, does not respect, and does not care about children. So much so that they would rather have a place where they could be around dogs than children. And I think that's backwards. I think dogs are great. I think animals are great. But they're not superior to children in any way. They can never replace a child. They can never bring me the level of joy that my two daughters bring me. I can combine every animal I've ever known in my entire life, and it wouldn't even come close to the amount of love that I have for my children. And I do think we're in an unhealthy situation culturally with our relationship with animals, where I do think for some people it's idolatrous. It's idolatrous. If you're opting out of having children to have quote unquote fur babies, I think that's idolatrous. And I don't even like that term, fur baby. They're not your babies. You didn't birth them. They're your animals. They're your pets. Yeah, I'm not saying don't treat them well. I'm not saying don't care for them. God has given us animals and expects us to treat them with care and compassion, but not above human beings. We shouldn't prioritize animal ownership over being fruitful and multiplying. Your animal can comfort you, but but having children is going to change your life in a way that an animal can never. Yeah, I talk to my daughter. We have a relationship. She will be around, Lord willing, when I'm on my deathbed. She'll be there for me, and I'll be there for her. And we have this beautiful relationship, and I'm so grateful for it with both my daughters. Now, my little one, she's 1 years old. I'm still getting a feel for her personality, but I can already tell this girl, man, is strong-willed, man. Like I cannot put this kid anywhere, and she's not trying to break out. She's trying to break out of everything, and she just wants to explore. And man, she gives us a run for our money sometimes, but worth it. And I'm grateful to have her. And I just think this is a net positive. Another thing, speaking of family, that I want to talk about. I think this will probably be the last thing I cover. Actually, there's one more thing I want to cover after that, and then we'll be done. Um, all right. So this tweet started making the round. A single mother of three goes viral after she shows how she manages to fit her children in a two-bedroom house. And she says, "Mommy don't have four-bedroom money. So I made it work, waiting on their room divider to come. I think it came out cute. Three kids, one room. They have headphones um, for their TVs." And people in these comments have been pretty good, but apparently she has been getting some criticism for putting all of her children in one room, which I think is ridiculous. um, I think that's fine. Uh, and I think one of the bad things about our culture is that we have become so individualized that we think that our children need their own rooms, when in reality, most of them would be fine sharing a room. And this has been the norm for a really long time. And it's still the norm in countries outside of the United States. When I went to Nepal, it just wasn't just children sharing a room; it was whole families living in one big room together, and it was fine. They weren't upset about it, and I think this is a first world problem where we think we need three bedrooms for our kids, and most kids will be just fine with one bedroom. I know for most of my life, I shared a bedroom with my brothers. And it was fine. It started getting a little weird when we were teenagers. Like we wanted our own space, but for the most part, we made it work. And when my mom finally got a bigger house, we eventually did get our own rooms. But if we never did, I don't think it would be that big of a deal. And I think that this is a fine arrangement. And yeah, I don't get the criticism. I think it's fine. I do think eventually, though, looks like there's a girl here. She would probably need her own space at some point, but for right now, they can share it and make it work. All right. I think. Hold on. I want to pull up one more video because I do think that it's relevant to what we were talking about today. Here it is. All right. All right. This is by a guy named Kyle Nutt. He has a great Instagram account where he posts a lot of videos like this. And he's also on TikTok. This is where I got this one from. That's really sad, y'all. And that's something that really bums me out because I actually witnessed something similar to this today. So I took my daughter to the park, and while we were at the park, she's playing with a bunch of kids, but there are some kids roughly her age sitting under the pavilion just on their phone, not playing with the other kids, not engaging, not playing on the playground, on their technology, missing this experience with other children. And then the kid started to play, but he was running around with his phone in his hand, stopping, using it, and then playing again. And I think this is not good. Just a net negative, excuse me, for our children. And I remember a time where, me and my friends, we would spend literally all day going outside. And this is, we still had technology, we had video games, and we would play them, but we would usually play them toward the night. We would spend all day outside playing, riding our bikes. We would have this the sand pits by our house. It may not seem like it, guys, but I was wild as a kid. I was crazy and did crazy things, and we would take our bikes, and we weren't allowed in these we were definitely 100% trespassing, and we would take our bikes and hit these ramps and go down these sand dunes, and it was awesome. It was so much fun, and we just had fun being kids and playing tag and jumping on our trampoline, maybe doing some things we weren't supposed to with our trampoline. We were so bad. We would if my mom saw us doing this, we would have been in so much trouble. We were a little older than these kids, though. We would set our trampoline underneath, like right next to the balcony, and we would jump off our balcony onto the trampoline and jump off. We did crazy stuff like that. But we were boys, so boys do crazy things. But this is one of the things that I'm scared that this generation is not going to have. They're not going to have a childhood. They're going to be robbed of it because instead of their parents being parents and taking them outside, they're letting them do this all day. And the iPad is one of those things where me and my wife made an agreement that our kid is not going to be on the iPad. The only time we give the iPad is when she's in the car and we're on long car rides. And then, I just think and then she's only allowed to watch movies we've downloaded on it. She's not going on the internet. She's not surfing anywhere. She's watching pre-downloaded stuff. And that's the only time that she gets it, because we don't want her childhood being robbed from her by technology. And then ultimately, being perverted by some of the same people that are putting this gay content into shows like Bluey. So that's all I have for tonight, guys. I appreciate you tuning in. Please like, share, subscribe, do all the things that helps me grow this show. And I appreciate you. I'd love to hear from you in the comments section. And that's all I got. Have a blessed night. Deuces.